They say that money can't buy happiness, but how you handle it can make or break a marriage. Finances are one of the top causes of stress and conflict for couples, but they can also be a powerful tool for building trust, freedom, and unity. So, how can you and your spouse, or perhaps even your future spouse, get on that same page when it comes to money and to keep God at the center of all of it? Joining us live from Omaha, Nebraska is a Catholic financial coach and the co founder of Wallet Win, Jonathan Teixeira, to talk about how to manage money with your spouse. Jonathan and his wife Amanda are homeschooling parents of 4 children. They're the authors of How to Attack Debt, Build Savings, and Change the World Through Generosity, a Catholic Guide to Managing Money. They're also the hosts of the Catholic Money Show and creators of the Catholic Money Course and the Catholic Family Emergency Binder. Good morning, Jonathan. It's good to be with you once again. Thanks so much for joining us here on Morning Air.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, John.
All right, Jonathan, I know that you and your wife, Amanda, you often talk about your own financial struggles and your journey. What first opened your eyes to the importance of handling money together as a couple?
When we got married, I didn't know much about money except how to spend it. And I took the advice that we only get one honeymoon, so make it a good one. So I went and I booked us I thought it's maybe a 7-day honeymoon, but if I put it on a credit card, I could get a couple extra nights. So we had a 10-day honeymoon on the credit card. And then while we were on the honeymoon, we got a message that the bill was due for the credit card because I totally forgot that I'd put it on there. So we're married 2 days. We're having a big money fight because that's not something that she would do. And just big, long fight. She calls her dad, and I thought I was the man now. And it really could have been the beginning of money just pulling us apart from each other. But instead, when we got home, we decided, all right, let's see what's going on. How much debt do we have? What's our income? What's going on? What's our plan? What do we want to do in this marriage, in this life that we have together now? And we decided, all right, let's figure out how to get out of this debt. So we had about $25,000 of debt. We were working as missionaries with Focus at the time. So we weren't making a whole lot of money because I wasn't that great at fundraising at that time. So we had about a take-home pay of about $35,000, and then over the next 7.5 months, we just got really creative, really dedicated, and found our way out of that debt. And our friends started asking us, like, "What's going on? How do we do this too?" So then we just learned how to put it in words and to share with other people what we did, how we took control of what was happening with our money and started telling it what to do instead of wondering where it all went.
And so, little did you know that those struggles during your honeymoon with putting it all on the credit card would actually be a blessing in disguise. It would be the very thing that would make you interested in learning as much as you could about money.
Yeah, that's right. It was a good idea, wasn't it? Um, I would say that it was, so it could have torn us apart, but instead now, we weren't sitting across the table from each other arguing about, the school loans or the credit card or whatever else it would have been. Now we thankfully saw that we were on the same side of the table and we were working together, against the debt or moving towards the goals that we had to eventually have our emergency savings, to buy a home, to adopt. Um, we got to do these things together. And as we did this, I'll tell you what, it strengthened us so much. The shared resolve to go after the goal, to get out of debt, and to have the shared larger yes, which enabled us to, yes, have our shared smaller no's to things. No to going out to restaurants all the time or this or that. But it really brought us together because we had that shared goal. We had something that we were working on together. And in that very formative first year of marriage, it was a real blessing.
Uh, Jonathan, why do you think that money can cause so much tension in so many marriages? And how can other couples start to see it instead as an opportunity for growth, as a blessing, somewhat like the way you guys did?
Money touches everything. It touches like every part of our lives, and it touches us really deep in. And I think it can be an issue for couples because generally, for us men, money we can allow it, if we're not too careful, to stand in as a proxy for our worth, to stand in as a proxy for our ability to be the leader of the family, to be the provider. And so any comment, even if the intention isn't there about money, might be, as it comes through a kind of our crooked, broken nature filter, could look like a slight on us and the job that we're doing. Or it could just be an opportunity for our conscience to, and maybe overreact or hit the wrong, poke the wrong part of us, of like, hey, you could be doing a better job. And so it can make us a bit prickly when the subject comes up. And then for ladies, for wives, a lot of the time, money can be a proxy, a stand in, and maybe all of us can let it be too much of a source of protection and security, of being taken care of. And so if there's an issue with the money, if the money's getting a little tight or it ran out, well, then they're not feeling taken care of. They're not feeling loved. And so it comes down to, yeah, it can be an opportunity for the enemy to prick us, to wound us in those deeper parts of us, of being taken care of, being loved, of being respected, of our roles that we are trying to live. So that's why it can be such a prickly subject, why it can lead to separation, unfortunately, even to divorce. But by understanding it well, by understanding and seeing money with the mind of the church, with the mind of our Heavenly Father, then we're allowing this renewed sense of what money is to enter into and touch those deeper parts of us and our role and our vocation. And that's how it can then be a source to draw us together.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the mind of the church, because you bring a spiritual and a Catholic perspective when it comes to money. Can you talk about the role that the faith plays in financial decision making for Catholic couples, whether we're talking about budgeting or giving or even planning for the future?
You know, we heard it a lot in Focus. Probably a lot of people have heard it. I heard Curtis Martin speak, and one of the things that's always stuck with me, probably from the first time I heard it, even as a student, but he would ask us. He'd say, "All right, is Jesus Christ? Is he the Lord of your life? Because he's either Lord of all, or he's not Lord at all." And it's an encouragement to turn your whole life over to the Lord. That's what he wants from us, and that's where we are going to find our joy. And a lot of times, okay, I'm gonna turn over, the way I'm a student. I'm gonna turn over the way I am at work. I'm gonna put in my hours. I'm not gonna shirk off responsibilities. I'm gonna be a good family man. I'm gonna, all these things, right? Think learning about theology of the body. Yeah, I'm gonna invite, God into the bedroom. All this. I'm gonna give him everything. And then even the best intention of us can just kind of, our minds just forget to go to, and I'm going to change the way I see money. I'm going to invite him into my bank account. I'm going to ask Jesus to be my financial advisor, etc. But it's what we need to do, right? He wants every part of us, and this thing, this tool, money, that touches every part of our lives. Why wouldn't we want that to be shamed or shaped and formed by the church, by our faith, by the relationship we have with our God? And so the church has spoken so much about money, about possessions, about the way we see things. I mean, even Jesus, most of his parables were concerning money. He used it as a way to teach us about himself. And with Pope Leo kind of calling back to Leo the 13th, it's a great opportunity. It's a great time right now to embrace and to discover what the church does teach about money, about possessions, about work. With on our Catholic Money Show podcast, we just did a 4-part series on Rerum Novarum, that landmark foundational encyclical of, Catholic social teaching. So it's a great time to look into what the church asks us to do. As practically as couples, yeah, we should be doing this together. We're raising our children together. We have one life together, so we should have, you know, we don't have we have a joint life, so let's have joint bank accounts. Let's budget together. That's the big thing. It's not that whether it's the person who's better with math or the person who's making the money or whoever it is, they're not the one in charge of it all, and the other spouse gets an allowance. We're doing this together. We come and make decisions about our family together, so let's make our decisions about our money together, to have that budget, to have that plan for how we're going to spend. It's not a straitjacket. It's not a financial juice cleanse. It is the plan that we are putting in place so that our family can move closer to the plans, to the goals, to the dreams that the Lord has put on our heart.
Jonathan, where can our listeners go to find out more about some of your advice and some of the resources that both you and your wife, Amanda, have?
You can find our website at walletwin.com. That's like your money, you want to win with it, not lose, walletwin.com. If you're listening out there right now and you're like, yeah, I need to get on that same page. Well, we've got our Money Together workshop. It's a 3-part series we take you through. It gives you all the time you need to do the exercises and all that to get on the same page with your spouse. So it's perfect for newlyweds. It's great for really, no matter how long you've been together, to get on that same page, to understand why you think about money the way you do personally, your personality, the way God made you, your history, to dream of a future together, and then to start taking steps towards making that a reality.
We'll have to leave it right there. Thanks so much, Jonathan Teixeira, the co-founder of Wallet Win, here on Morning Air.